Hi, this is Jonathan Weinberg, and this is Drawing with Fountain Pens. You don't have to be an artist to get something from this channel, but you do have to love fountain pens.
Service with a smile. Stanley, the pen.
Today I'm going to talk quickly about Kaweco. There's some exciting news for people who like Kaweco sports pens, pocket pens. They have announced, and you can order but not get right away, a new piston filler version of the Kaweco Sport. And this is really a return to a pen that they used to make going back to the 60s, I think into the 70s. This new pen will have a kind of blind cap. You open the cap, back cap, and you turn it, and that will operate the piston. It also will have a window, clear window. The old V16 seemed to have a kind of semi-hooded nib. This, I think, is going to have a similar nib to the one that's on the Sport. I see it online at a European seller for somewhere around $170, which seems a bit pricey given the fact that I think this is going to have a metal nib, not a gold nib, which is what was on the old V16. But I think there are people who will be excited to have the piston. There is a little converter that you can get for the regular sports, but it's not easy to work, and it doesn't use a lot of ink, which leads me today to talk about a pen that I just got from Kaweco called the Kaweco Supra. One of the great things about Kaweco pens is they come in really nice boxes, I think. There's a little outer cardboard, and it's in this wonderful Art Deco-y looking metal box. You open it up and you get the little cards, and this is the full-size pen. What makes the Supra is the fact that it is so big, but it can become small because it has this little piece in the middle that comes apart. So here it is in its big form. You see that it is turned on either side and has the Kaweco, let's see if we can get that focus, logo on the cap tip. And then here's the pen. And it has this number 6 size nib that is so nice. And it is brass. And let's just measure it when it's long. It's in its full size mode. Closed. It is approximately a little bit bigger. No, it's about 5 inches long. And then, just to give it a comparison to its little brother, the Lilliput, when it is closed, it is 3 3/4 long. Now, both these pens actually go all the way back to the beginning of the 20th century. The Lilliput, the original version, came out in, I believe, in 1908. And then it wasn't until 1920 that Kaweco introduced this bigger pen. And then the modern Kaweco in 2012 did the Lilliput, and then it was in 2016 that they brought out the brass version of this pen. So if we open the pen up and we post it, it becomes a very long pen. It gets bigger than 6 inches. Oops, it's rolling. Like the Lilliput, you can get a clip for this pen that's extra. It's less than $10. So you can see that it's almost 6.5 inches when it's posted. As a comparison, let's see. Put it on here. And this guy is 4, you can see it's about 4 3/4 inches versus 6 and almost 1/2 inches long when it's posted. Now, if we weigh these pens, it is almost 52 grams when you weigh the Supra versus 21 grams when you weigh the Lilliput with the cap. So this is a heavy, heavy pen, and I feel actually it's a bit too heavy in its large size, and yet that's the magic of this pen. This is the magic of this pen. Take this off. We put this on, and we have a pocket-sized pen that is wider but not that much bigger, longer than the Lilliput, just a smidge longer when it becomes a pocket-sized pen. We can post these pens. You see, that's a little bit longer when it's posted as a pocket pen. We're talking about 5 1/8 or so versus a little less 4 7/8 when the Lilliput is posted. So it becomes a much a much lighter and smaller pen, but still extremely usable, a really nice pocket pen. And what's nice, one of the things that is a great feature of it, is that it has the larger nib. It's a Bach nib. I think the number is 250, but that's basically a number 6 size nib versus the number 5 size nib on the Lilliput, and also on the Kaweco Sport. Here's the brass version of the Kaweco Sport. Now, there is one disadvantage to both the Lilliput. Well, there are probably other disadvantages, but there's one disadvantage that comes to mind immediately when comparing the Sport to the Lilliput and to the Supra as pocket pens. The Sport has to post, but it comes off and on really easily, while the Supra and the Lilliput both post very well, but you have to screw them in and out. And so if in the middle of a note you need to, put the top on and then take the top off, that can really be a pain to do that. And, that's a kind of disadvantage. So you have to keep that in mind. On the other hand, if you're someone who's worried about your cap falling off when it's posted, you may like the screw-on ability of the posting. I actually feel that it can be a problem. I would have to say, though, that one of the great things about the Sport design is that it posts extremely securely. And in fact, I have a metal version of this pen, and sometimes it posts so securely that it's hard to get the cap off once you post it. So that's not true of the brass version. These are, except for the Lilliput here, because it's the metal, but these two brass pens are really quite heavy still, even in their pocket version, and that's something that you have to get used to. Now, the other thing to point out is that when the pen is small, it uses cartridges, and it can use Kaweco's tiny converter, this guy, that fits in all these different, it doesn't fit in the Lilliput, but it fits in the Sport, and it fits in the Supra. But when you make the pen big, it will use a standard international converter, so that's another advantage that it has when it's big. There are other pocket pens that have number 6 nibs, and I'm thinking particularly of a favorite of mine, which is the brass Schon design. I also have an anodized version of it. These are very, I have it backwards. These are really beautiful, and you can see how similar they are. They both also post in a similar fashion, but when you open them up and compare them, they have a very different section, which I really, really like. I really think is beautiful. And that's something to keep in mind in terms of a comparison. One thing that I would say about the Supra section is, although it's a metal section and shiny, I don't find that it's too slippery. And also, they do such a great job of finishing the pen that I don't find the threads to be annoying. And they actually, since this is small and kind of hourglass formed, it actually kind of helps you hold the pen. So that's not a problem for me. I have to say, I find all these brass pens to be a little heavy, even when they're in their pocket version. But I like the way they feel, and I like the way that they age, right? You see that in the Sport here. Well, first of all, I like the Schon design, the beautiful anodized. That's my favorite. So of all of these three, this is by far my favorite. But I also like in the Sport the way that the brass tarnishes and shows its wear. You can renew it easily. There are directions online about that, about how you can either use a polish, or there's a kind of brass cloth that you can use, cloth used for polishing brass that you can also get, and you can restore it. But I like the kind of way in which it shows its age in this way, and that's going to happen. That does happen with these pens. This is brand new, but eventually it'll be like this, and that's a nice aspect of the brass. I like the feel of the brass. I'm not so wild about the heaviness of the brass, but you can't have everything. The Supra is nice the way in which you see the whole nib. And I think that looks perhaps a little better than the way in which the nib is sort of buried into the Schon design. But I really like the section on the Schon design, and this is a terrific pen. I think Gravitas. I'm not sure. There are a few other pen companies that make pocket pens that use 6 now, but it is something that, particularly the Schon design Pocket 6. That's something they're very proud of. If the weight of the Supra really bothers you, they have introduced recently a black version of the pen made of aluminum, and that so if the brass version is somewhere around 50 grams or 51 grams, The black version is 28 grams. That's much lighter. I'm not wild about the black though. In comparison to the brass, is so beautiful that you have to sort of balance that out in terms of how it looks. The black is very handsome, but I prefer the brass. And the black now, the brass you can get at a much discounted price versus the black version, which just came out, which you don't see so discounted. So that's another aspect in terms of how you have to buy it. The pen lists for $140. I was able to get the brass version for $90 on Amazon. The Schon Dsgn pens are more expensive, but I think you can see that you're getting something for that value, particularly in the anodized version. Okay, that's it. I have the writing sample, and I did a drawing for spring of narcissus or daffodils. If you enjoy this video and it's useful, please subscribe. Okay, how does it write? It's a very nice looking nib. It is, I believe these nibs are made by Bach. And Bach calls them, I think, number 250 nibs, and they're similar to a size 6 nib. So we have Kaweco, Supra, and it is a medium. And this is a Kaweco black cartridge. And this is Rhodia paper. And there's no flex to this nib. No, it's just really like a nail. It's super wet. It's a little bit dry even. It's okay. And I would say that it writes reasonably smoothly with a little bit of feedback. Okay, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It is a very heavy pen. Similar to the brass Sport. It has some of the same feeling in terms of its weight. And the other thing is, I would say also, so is the Schon Pocket 6. Brass pens tend to be heavy. What is nice is that it's nicely done so that doesn't hurt my fingers in terms of the threads, although you do notice it. I like the way the pen looks and feels. All that is good. I think it's a bit heavy, and if you add the middle part to it, it gets very heavy, and I wouldn't think it would be appropriate for writing for a long period of time.